Battlebit Remastered recently released an update. In that update, they added 2 new weapons, one of those being a new DMR, the G3. I call it a battle rifle, but it's classified as a DMR. Now, I wanted to wait a few days before making this video because I just wanted to give you my honest thoughts on it. I didn't want to clickbait a title and make a video saying this scene will be meta when I don't know yet. Now, I've used this over the last few days and I can confidently say it's a pretty strong weapon. Will I rate it S tier? Probably not, but let's talk about it in the video. So here's the stats for the G3. 37 damage, 900 bullet velocity, 500 fire rate. Now, 900 bullet velocity is freaking insane for a weapon that fires almost at the fire rate of an assault rifle at 500. 900 bullet velo at almost unlimited range. This thing has unlimited range up to 300 meters for max TTK and an extremely slow damage fall off after that. Basically effective up to 500, 600, 700, 800 meters. Now, this thing is what the AUG A3 should have been. The G3 is what the AUG A3 should have been. A low fire rate, high damage weapon. Instead, the AUG is low fire rate, mid damage with a steeper range fall off. Now, I call the G3 an FAL for lower level players. It unlocks at level 90. The FAL unlocks at 140. It's for players who don't have the FAL yet. So let's compare the two. At body shot, the G3 does 37 to the body, the FAL 40. At headshot, the G3 does 55.5 damage to the body, the FAL does 60. Now, the G3 having 55.5 headshot damage means it can 2-tap to the head, basically for empty helmet players, or to the face for up to 300 meters. That's insane, and it's a 3-tap to the head for everything else at 500 RPM. That is insane, and it has little to no recoil base. Like, I don't even have the recoil stabilizing attachments unlocked for this yet, and it has no recoil. Like, I feel like I don't need a grip almost. I'm shredding targets from 300 plus meters with ease. For the G3, I only have 132 kills with it because I just started using it, but there are 2 ways I build it so far, which is one for a very aggressive style of play, like close range, mid-range style of play, and B for all-around goodness. So for the close range style of play, aggressive style of play, we have long barrel to add that damage onto there, to add the bullet velo on there. We have the B25 URK grip to reduce the reload speed. We're using assault to also reduce the reload speed, and we have our favorite 1x optic. For me, it's this one, or the aim comp for DMRs at least. Now, you'll notice with this build, the vertical recoil is quite heavy, because I have a bunch of attachments to add to the vertical recoil. So at that range where this thing really excels, you're not going to get the most out of it. But again, if you're at these closer ranges, you're going to get more, you're going to get a better build out of it than you would with the other build that I'm going to show you. So it's a trade-off as to what you like to do with it, and how good you are at controlling vertical recoil. But the better all-around build for it would be to throw like a tactical barrel on it, right? And then to throw like a vertical grip on it, because the horizontal recoil is not really that noticeable with it. You can get away with a vertical grip on it, or BCM gunfighter, depending on which one's giving you more trouble. It's really up to you. But we're gonna throw vertical grip on it with the tactical barrel to reduce that vertical recoil. This is actually one of the few weapons in the game where attachments matter. So, and look. Now we're back to shredding at range, right? We're at a much more manageable recoil. We're back to kind of shredding, right? So it all depends how you really want to build it. Also, you can like tap fire or burst fire it, right? And it's pretty hit scan because of the 900 meter bullet velo. So it's all up to you. But those are the 2 ways I build it. Now let's get into the discussion about this weapon more in depth. Now, the use case for the G3 is probably 50 meters plus, I would say. Like, if you use it 50 meters in, you'll probably still get kills being aggressive, but you need to hit the head if you're using it 50 meters in aggressively, because the P90, the MP7, the MP5, the ASVAL, the M4, the SG550, all those weapons still exist and are very viable from those ranges, and they will compete against you quite well. But this thing's a battle rifle slash DMR, so it's not supposed to be super good at close range. It's still viable if you hit those headshots, but it's definitely not as good as SMGs, as it shouldn't be close range, right? As it shouldn't be. That is balance. Now, I will say the hip fire on this is pretty insane close range. I'll just throw that out there. I would rate the G3 A tier. It's definitely not an S for me just because it fails at close quarters. Obviously, like it should. I'm not blaming the weapon for that, but the AK-15 and the FAL do exist, with the AK-15 being a lower level unlock than the G3 at like level 15. And basically just as good, if not better, performing at 150 meters in. But the G3 far outperforms the FAL and the AK-15 at 150 meters plus, right? And also the MP7 exists as a low level unlock, so I have to acknowledge that too. That being said, if the G3 was like a level 35, level 40 unlock, it would be definitely S tier, no doubt in my mind. But while it is true that the FAL and AK-15 are better for TTK and damage on paper, the G3 has significantly more range, as I just alluded to. The FAL and the AK-15 start falling off at like 150 meters, whereas the G3 virtually doesn't fall off at all, achieving its max TTK at 300 meters in. And at 300 meters out, it barely falls off at all, hardly at all. Use cases: if you're a positional player, you can quite literally full auto snipers and marksmen from 300 plus meters with this and destroy them. Or you find a position like the boat map, I'm forgetting what it's called off the top of my head, and you just laser beam people on the boat fighting each other, right? And you can also find position, like I dropped 90 elims with this on Tensa Town. Like you can play close quarter maps with the G3. You just have to find positions like in the windows, like around corners. You're not necessarily running headfirst into a building like you would with an SMG or an assault rifle. You're picking your angles and your battles. I'm not saying you have to camp, right? Wow, that was a voice crack. I'm not saying you have to camp, but you definitely have to like position, get a few elims, move, reposition, get a few elims, move, right? And in addition to the close quarters drawback, I also want to point out that the G3 has a 20 bullet mag. Something to keep in mind. I mean, it's a DMR, so it's not supposed to have a 60 round drum, but you only need 2 to 4 bullets to kill anyway with it. But something to keep in mind for aggressive players. You will definitely get the most out of this thing if you are a skilled player, a skilled aimer, if you excel at hitting headshots, if you excel at not wasting bullets, at being accurate, you will get the most out of the G3. If you're a player that's not so accurate, that misses a few shots here and there, at 500 RPM, that doesn't give you a ton of room for error, it gives you more room for error than the other DMRs, but you might be better suited with an FAL, with an AK-15, with an M4A1 until you develop that accuracy, that precision, that being able to track, flick, and spray transfer from target to target are very important with this, and your accuracy in position on the body is also really important with the G3. But if you're a skilled player, you can easily turn this thing from an A tier weapon into an S tier weapon if you know how to use it. The key is not trying to use the weapon out of the bounds that it's supposed to be used. If you try to use it like an SMG, like I said, you're gonna get shredded, right? You gotta use it as it's intended to be used. Just like I wouldn't spray an SMG up to 200 meters unless you're using the pre-nerf SMGs, in which case you would, but not anymore. You're not gonna spray an SMG at 200 meters, right? Same goes for the G3. You're not gonna like be super aggressive like 30 meters in on people and barrel stuff them. You might get a few elims doing that, but you're gonna excel mostly at the 50 meters plus, the ranged combat, and the positional playing. So that's just a note there. Now I'm going to show you a few clips of me using the G3 in the rest of the video. Notice how I'm able to get elims efficiently. Notice how good it is at range, at challenging powerful weapons. Notice how I lose fights close range with it sometimes. So just take a look. Well, this seems pussy. Yep. That guy did all that sweating. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another video. I'd be greatly appreciated. And I will see you next video. Thank you so much. Leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know what you thought of the video. I appreciate it. I love the feedback. Keep it civil as always, and see you next video.